Hey everyone, welcome to The Path of Me. I'm your host, Wendy Hutchinson. I've got the beautiful Melissa McCloud in the house. Hey, Melissa.
Hey, Wendy. You're beautiful too. Thank you.
Thanks. She's coming to us from Colombo, Sri Lanka. So it's evening here and it's morning there, 10.5 hour time difference. Melissa is an awesome life coach for married moms. That's her jam, and she's really good at it. So she has clientele all over the world, and I'm just really excited to have you here. So welcome, Melissa.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm so thrilled always to connect with you, whether it's face-to-face or in person or through technology or text.
Thank goodness we have technology. I have to put this out there that it's the World Series, and I'm in Houston.
Go Stros.
If you hear screaming, that would be my husband and son and brother-in-law.
Exciting. Go Astros.
Just wanted to throw that out there in case you hear like this crazy uproar in the background. But anyway, welcome and thank you for being on the show today. I'm so excited to deep dive. Melissa was on my show. She was my 4th guest when I first started the Path of Me series. And I can't believe it's been a little over a year since we, last did this. So thank you.
You're welcome. Congratulations on having the show and the staying power to keep it going.
Oh my God, I keep going somehow. I just keep getting up and going. But last year, what was so amazing is you had embarked, and so much has happened in your life in a year, and I can't wait to deep dive. But you had taken on this crazy goal of participating in this bodybuilding bikini contest. That was such a huge, hairy, audacious goal, I think.
Yes.
What motivated you to take that on?
Yeah, that was what I call a throw-up goal, the kind of goal where you can't even tell people because it makes you want to vomit that you're even doing it in the first place. Oh, I had, so I've been in health coaching for 16 years prior to getting my life coaching certification and launching this new chapter of my career. And in the health coaching arena, you're exposed to all different sorts of bodies and physiques. And I was just friends with some professional bodybuilders. And there's a softer category in bodybuilding called the bikini. And it's just a higher body fat look, although you're still smoking hot.
Based on the photo, I didn't see any body fat, but okay, we'll go with that.
And the curves they're looking for a different shape, different curves in different places. Mm-hmm. And it's just a little more accessible to compete in the bikini category than something like physique and what we think of when we might think of like Arnold Schwarzenegger bodybuilder.
Right.
And I always had the idea in the back of my head that I might want to do it one day. And a woman, her name's Carolyn, that have been friends with for a very long time in our health coaching businesses. She had invited to coach me. And so when I moved from Houston to Northern California in 2017, where she's based, it was like an easy yes. I didn't know how long I was going to be there. I had this opportunity to work with her. You do things like posing, which is like learning how to hold your body and make your boobs and your butt stick out, things like that. I could do in person because we were geographically close.
Right.
And I just went for it. And it was an incredible experience. It taught me the discipline. I've always had it in my mind that I really don't work that hard, and I don't want to because I'm a mom. I want to be there with my little kids. And
well, I have to disagree, but okay, if you want to say that. You are so productive.
These were my disempowering beliefs. These are my disempowering beliefs. And so one was that I was lazy. And there is no wiggle room when you're competing in a bikini competition and working with a coach that holds you accountable, which is why I love coaching, because you're going to do more for others than you'll ever do for yourself.
Exactly.
But when you are getting on a stage in front of hundreds or thousands of people in this much fabric,
scantily clad,
you
small
stick
triangle
to the plan. 2 small triangles and then one down here and then one in the back. That's it. That's all you got.
Crazy.
So yeah, it just made me show up differently. And these are also like short-term things. Like the way that I ate to prepare for the bikini show, this wasn't something that I stuck with afterwards. It's a short-term thing. Even the professionals, sure, they are, let's say, like healthy, although that has a different interpretation for everybody on this planet. They're healthy year round, often or most of the time, let's say. But for the weeks leading up to the show, the discipline, what they're eating, what they're weighing out and measuring, it took my discipline to a whole new level.
Phenomenal.
And after a few months of doing it, I was like, I did it. I could do it. I didn't know until I did it. So I realized what I really was capable of.
Yeah. How did your story change after you completed that? How did you change as a person as a result of that experience?
My idea, before I even signed up for the show, I'd wanted to get in the best shape of my life. And I did. I looked and felt amazing, and the discipline of my nutrition and working out. I'd never, ever been a weightlifter. Now I can go to the gym and do a 30-minute workout, 45-minute workout, and I know exactly what I'm doing. Those things were very different. If I wanted to do it again, I don't feel like I need to right now, but I know that I could. And I've also inspired other people to do it that were like, well, if Melissa could do it, I can do it too. And that's been cool to see other people also do
Take the
bikini shows
challenge.
after I've done it. Yeah.
But it's not only the fact that they saw you do it. I think it's not only it's showing people that they can go after something so crazy and surprise themselves and actually pull it off. Like, it is attainable, but you have to be willing to kind of take the risk and the leap, right?
Agreed. Yeah. And what I love about goals like that is they really do change you. They don't even have to be that big, but it's about, routines are good. And I certainly have a specific routine with running my household, but they can also get you in a rut. And
definitely,
if you're not doing anything different, even if it's a small incremental difference every single day or week or month, then you're in a rut. And
you remain the same.
I was in a rut. Yeah, you don't change, you don't grow. And if you're not growing, you're dying. And so that was something that, yes, it got my fitness to a whole new level. Yes, I looked amazing. Yes, I have pictures that will last a lifetime. But it was about the growth as a person. It was how I showed up differently, that even though my body didn't stay the same, that stuck with me. And I get still so excited about what I accomplished during the bikini show now over a year later. That's
awesome.
How impactful it is to take on these big goals. And this snapshot I have of the day was when you're posing on stage, and the judges chose 2 women in my category to face off. You guys, I was 39. The woman that I was competing for first place with in this category, 21. Okay. So almost twice her age.
What?
They call the 2 of us out and we have to do a pose off. Do pose off. I mean, she is just doing her thing. And I am doing my thing. How did this happen? And I'm looking in the audience, and my husband and my kids are on their chairs. I've never seen my husband be so out of control excited. That made the 16-week prep period all worth it. I still get so emotional having him go go just crazy scream for me, which is so out of character for him. It was just
oh my
I showed
God.
up so differently. Everyone else has to show up differently for you. And I was different in his eyes after that show because
that is so cool.
I didn't know I had it in me. He didn't know either.
People don't know Melissa's husband, but he's this very conservative businessman, very handsome.
All these things.
Businessman. So to imagine him screaming and just cheering you on, and your kids must have been. That's what it's about, right?
Yeah, and that's the power of goals. Yeah, when you change, you're going to change. You're going to grow. You impact your whole family.
Well, also your kids are watching you. They're watching you work for something. They're watching you change your diet. They're watching you consistently, work out and then achieve something. So you're definitely laying a blueprint for them.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. By how you're showing up in your life, right?
Mm.
And so after that, how long after that did you start your coaching practice? You have a group called the Trophies.
Mm-hmm.
About that a little bit. How did that?
It was later in the year, maybe 6 months later. What I love about health coaching is working with women, and you're helping them change their habits and uncover why they are the way they are, and also help them nail down where they want to go and put the plans in place and hold them accountable to getting there.
Right.
And that's just pure coaching. And
Right.
even though I was doing it under the umbrella of mostly weight loss, you can apply those principles to any area of life. And I just love coaching these women. And I had a few people hire me one-off for different things, like building businesses and helping with relationships. And I decided to get my life coaching certification to make it a little more legit.
Right.
Although what I've realized is that I had a great capacity as a coach. I didn't need this like certificate to prove that, although I'm glad that I went through the process so that I know that. But I started a life coaching group in January, which is just about 10 months ago. And it's free for any woman. I call it group life coaching. And because I thought it was going to be more about weight loss, I launched it under the name Trophy Wives as like a cheeky name. Like most of us are married, a lot of us are moms, and like, why not get in the best shape of our lives? The name fell so flat. I did not do my market research. People were embarrassed to say they were a trophy wife, even though the content was not like that at all. It was about being the best woman you can be. Right. And so I rebranded when I realized that. Now we're just called the Trophies. And it's because women are such prizes, and we're all different shapes and sizes, just like all different types of trophies. I just help them like polish their trophy a little bit. And so I love these women. I call them Trophies. And every month in the Trophies, we have a different emphasis, a different topic that we're taking a deep dive into. January was about goal setting. February was capitalizing on the success of Marie Kondo and her Netflix show and book, The Unbelievable Magic of Tidying Up. So we decluttered our lives.
I've done that.
Decluttering. So powerful, such a powerful project. We've had months on communication, months on a relationship, months on money. We're doing a month on money right now. And so each month I'm weaving in and asking women's questions relating to life coaching, but also there's this emphasis for each month, which kind of makes it a little cohesive. So we're all doing the same self-inquiry together. So I've been super excited about that. And
so fun.
Thank you. And I pulled the group in the summer. I realized that over 80% of the women are married moms with young kids. Most of them work. And that's exactly who I am. So it's no surprise that that's who I attracted.
Right.
And the conversation is often about our family relationships, in fact, our marriage dynamics. And what I decided to do was put together a course called Husband Rehab. Even though it's a funny name because we all want to change our husbands, we also know we can't. There's no way we can change anyone else, but we can change ourselves. And so the course is actually about doing all the inner work and the self-inquiry that you need to do to show up differently in your marriage to have the relationship that you want. And because I was doing this for the first time, I only launched it to the Trophy. So you had to be a trophy to even know about it in the first place. I limited it to 10 people. It sold out right away. And I decided this would be what is so unique about this first group is I'm able to like be so involved with each person because there's only 10 women going through the group. And I know they're going to help me package and tweak the course so that I can launch it to the broader, probably Facebook community.
Right.
My plan is at the new year and go really big with it. So that's kind of where my career has taken me. I went from health coaching to life coaching. And now I really want to serve these married moms that are so stressed out, overwhelmed, can't believe that their husband is the same person they married.
Yeah. You know what's amazing?
Do something different.
Yeah. What's amazing, and people don't realize this because people are so external based, right? So if there's a problem or an issue, the first thing that people do is look for someone to blame or a circumstance, right? So
of course. Yeah.
Your fault, it's his fault. If only he would do this, and what people don't realize is it's really a projection of something within them that is being triggered for healing and growth.
Yeah.
Right? And what is so powerful, what is going to change the world really, is if each person takes a deep dive into themselves and looks in the mirror very honestly and with an open heart and kid gloves and learns to love themselves. right? Because once they do that inner work, it's incredible how, like you were saying, you taking on that bikini challenge changed your whole family, right? You didn't force anybody to do anything, but just you showing up differently and creating that goal and achieving it, and all it took to get there changed the dynamics of your family and how they looked at you and how you relate to each other, right? So your work
Absolutely.
is so powerful because you're empowering these women through the work you're doing to really shift and heal who they are on the inside, and then alchemize their relationships with their families.
Oh, alchemize. I love that. Yeah. I don't use that language, but I love that, Wendy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I teach marriage as a system. Your family, it's a system, and everyone's playing a part right now. So you and your husband, you have this role that you guys are playing, and it's probably a cycle that's old and ingrained, but you change one part of the system has to adapt. And so that's why I believe it doesn't take two to tango. I believe one person can change and affect the relationship because it's a system and they show up differently. Everything else has to change.
Now, also, we should say that it can create discomfort.
It will create discomfort.
Right. Because once you, the wife or the female in the matriarch in the family, start shifting and changing, all of a sudden you become more empowered. Your tolerance, what you're willing to tolerate, changes as you value yourself more.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So there's some things that start to trigger with the spouses, right? Because things are being reflected to them, and they're having to kind of start looking at their stuff and work on themselves. And they don't really like that if they've never had to.
Agreed, 100%.
Right?
It's uncomfortable, and people don't want to change. We say we want to change, but our brains are there for survival. And even though we say we want something different, life is actually pretty good. Most of us here are living a Western lifestyle where we're pretty comfortable. And so our brains are like, whoa, don't rock the boat. Like, cool it down, simmer down. We don't need to go out of the box here. Things are pretty good. And so that's what our husbands are thinking too. They don't want to change, and we don't want to change, which is why we want them to be the ones that change.
Exactly.
Sorry.
But the truth is, it all starts with us.
It all starts
with we have to do the inner work. Also,
Amen.
what's really true for us too is when you're a coach, you have to walk the walk and walk the talk. You can't just be faking. I mean, you're such an effective coach because you have actually coached yourself and, healed all these different aspects of yourself, and you're always in pursuit of growth and expansion, which is what I love about you so much. You're constantly taking it to the next level, and you are such an incredible manifester.
Thank you. I was sharing with the women that, so there was a point in my marriage where I could not stand my husband's behavior. I had just moved to Houston the first time, not the time that I met you.
I know, it's like, how many times ago was that?
2 moves. Well, that's probably like 4 moves ago, but the first time we were in Houston, this is 2011. I just had a baby. I moved out of California for the first time with infant. I didn't know anybody except for 2 women. Lived an hour away. And my husband was in a new role, super demanding. I never saw him. And he did this thing where he would call me from the office and say he was coming home, hang up the phone, keep working. And it would just get my goat. When you're home with a new baby and you don't know what the hell is going on, you just can't wait for that garage door to open and your husband to walk in.
And you're so isolated because you're new, you're isolated. Yeah.
Totally.
Tired.
And that was definitely like a rough time for me. And the way I was is that I would just silently steam. He'd come home late. Hey, honey, home. Sorry, I'm late. And I would just be like, oh, it's fine. Oh, that's fine. No problem. Are you okay? Is anything wrong? Oh, no, nothing's wrong. That was just how I showed up. And I hated him for it, but I would not say anything. I thought I was being a good wife by not making an issue of it, not rocking the boat, not calling him out on it. And as a result, I was unhappy and I was blaming him for my unhappiness.
And you get resentful. You get resentful.
100%
When you start to bury that stuff, oh boy, it starts piling and piling. And eventually he's going to leave a sock on the floor and it's World War III. This
Totally
one tiny thing that just lights the match, you know.
Mm-hmm. And the payoff is you get to feel like you're in the right and they're in the wrong. You get to feel, you get to say you're the victim, you're the martyr. I got to talk to my girlfriends about it. My sister, like, I'm doing everything at home. I feel like a solo parent. I mean, how dramatic was that? He's not doing anything. And he's not even coming home on time. Oh, you poor thing. It's like, I got to be this victim. That was a big payoff for me.
Right. And everybody wants the validation, right? That's the thing too, is I think you know you're doing a quantum leap and a quantum jump the moment you shift from victim to empowered. Victim mindset to empowered, because it's easy to be a victim. Easy to stay attached to your story and get the support and have the other person be the villain, right? But there's no healing. There's no solution if you remain in that mindset, right? Which is why it's so difficult, because you don't get when you're in it at all. And what changed for you? What shifted? You guys are such a good team right now. So what was the catalyst for the shift?
Thank you. That's so true. You can't see the picture when you're in the frame. You're only focused on like me, and the blame game. I had always been into self-help. I think many women are. I think that's why I'm such a proponent of the women taking responsibility for changing themselves to change their relationship, because we're the ones into self-help. We watch Oprah. We're the ones that are
we're reading all the books and
exactly. And I was able to and I'd been into personal development for several years at this point already. So I knew that for things to change, I had to change. I knew to take responsibility for my own life, my own happiness, my own actions. And I knew that I had to show up differently if I was going to change my marriage. And I was only recognizing everything I was doing. I wasn't acknowledging him for everything he was doing. We were, first of all, very young. We're in our early 30s. He went from being a single contributor in his job in California, where he was reporting to his boss and doing his work in his cubicle every day, to being a brand new manager, 13 people reporting to him. Most of them had been with the company way longer than he had. They were way older. This was a tough position for him to be in. And of course he had demanding hours and he was working a lot. He was brand new in the role. And then he's at work and he's got all these arrows flying at him. People want to talk to him. People want his time. He really did want to go home, but then someone wanted to talk to him, or someone called him on the phone, or he had to get one more email in. And I had to recognize that he was going through a really tough time too. This was all brand new for him too. And then he's got this wife, he's moved out of state, and this brand new baby. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing as a dad also.
And he's exhausted probably, because the baby's crying at night, right? He still has to get to the office and bring his A game, right?
He had it tough too, and I wasn't willing to recognize that. And so what I did was, like, one thing that was out the window was family dinners, even though the baby wasn't even eating. But that was important to me. And so I decided, like, I'm going to give that up. I'm going to eat dinner at 5:30 when we said we were going to eat dinner, and then he can come home and find his dinner in the microwave, and know that if he wants to have a dinner with me, he's got to come home when he says he's going to come home. Did that happen every night? No, but that was like a little change I made, where he knew he had to do something different if he wanted to sit and have family dinner, which we had agreed was important to us. I wasn't going to wait until 7 o'clock anymore to eat dinner. And that's when I'm doing baths and books and bottles and bedtime and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that was like one little shift. And then, I mean, gratitude's our secret weapon. We all know that, but do we know that? And do we practice it?
I think people know it, but the daily practice of it.
The daily practice goes out the window.
Actually,
we
know what we need to do, but the actually implementation and the actual commitment to being in that space of gratitude, that has been such a huge tool in my toolbox.
Yep.
I really believe if you are suffering, gratitude is the elixir for that. You can simultaneously in a place of suffering and in a place of gratitude. because gratitude requires you to like expand and open your heart, and just your perspective is one of such grace and thankfulness and humility that you can't be in a space of suffering. So I found in my life it to be a huge tool. The deeper my suffering, the more intentional my gratitude practice. I mean, my gratitude practice can even be, moment by moment, like, I'm so grateful for this cup of coffee, or whatever it is. It can be so minute. Like, I'm grateful I'm alive.
There's always something to pick out, even in the worst times. There's always something. And you're right, you can't occupy a feeling of gratitude and also resentment. It can't be gratitude and blame. So reaching for that gratitude. And it was, even though I knew it, it was taking the time to journal it. And
I was wondering if you had a journal, like a journal practice, because I'm a big journaler. And
me too. In fact, I just put my journal, I set it aside over here. It's on.
It's so cool to be able to, and it's not only good to process your emotions and feelings, but also a place for you to really privately dream. How many of us, don't allow ourselves to dream and have visions and believe that we are so much more than we are, and we can achieve these crazy audacious goals like you did with your...
I know, we stop dreaming when we're adults because we think it's unrealistic.
I think especially...
I my dream board in it.
Oh, sure.
Definitely.
Especially when
you can be whatever you want. And then we get older, we're like, well, not that. I mean, that's unrealistic. We think that. This is my journal.
Right.
This is the journal I'm working on now because I burned through them so fast.
Yeah.
So start each day with a grateful heart. And then this is my dream board. So I'm looking at my vision board every morning when I'm writing in my journal. So these are like powerful women. It says, be something, true grit. Like, I definitely feel like I'm nicey people pleaser. So I want to be more controversial and have more grit. So it's on my dream board.
Yeah.
Yummy food and vacation. This is indoor outdoor living. And then on the back I have some things that really light me up. So yeah, it's really making yourself get in that spot.
Everybody should create a vision board, because something magical happens when you not only just create the vision in your mind and breathe life into it by sending it out into the ethers, but there's something about creating it on paper, right? And doing, I do a vision board every year.
Love it.
I'm amazed that it all comes true. Like, it literally does. I can't tell you why. I don't know if it's just the act of breathing life into it and putting it to paper and creating doesn't even need to be an art masterpiece, but just cutting out words and creating that vision.
I love that, breathing it into the ethers. It's so true. It's like, if it's a thought, but then you bring it into reality, when you cut out a picture or print out a Google image and you put it on a piece of paper, it's now in reality. Your idea became real.
It became tangible.
I love that.
It became tangible, right? And what's interesting to me is, I look at mine every day. It's up on the wall next to my desk. But what's really amazing to me is that it almost comes to pass by being planted in your psyche, in your subconscious. There's something that starts drawing it to you and drawing you to it. All of a sudden now you're getting ideas, or how to move forward, or the next project, or I don't know. I think we need to allow ourselves to spark creativity and open our minds. Because like you said, it's so easy to get caught in that groove and that pattern. And what I really wanted to talk about next is your pull to move abroad.
Yep.
That was a huge bucket list item for you, exposing your kids to life abroad, moving abroad. You weren't sure how you were going to do it. And here you are, a year and a half in to your life in Sri Lanka. You're in Colombo, Sri Lanka. Tell us how that unfolded.
Well, it unfolded never in the way I ever would have guessed, which is how these things usually go. But I did have a dream to live abroad. I thought I would do it when I was a single girl. I should have. I just didn't go for it then. You know, I should have.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, I'm not into shoulds, but I've said before to my friends, after everything we've been through this year, I probably should have just studied abroad. That would have been a little bit easier than doing what I've done. But I had this nagging desire to live in a different country. And that's something that just lights me up. That was my dream. New experience, new culture, new language. It sounded so exciting. I didn't want my life to pass and I didn't have that experience. And I'd certainly traveled, but when you're traveling, it's different. When you're living in a resort, it's a different experience. When you're actually friends with locals, that's the experience I wanted. And I had my husband on board. What I thought we were going to do was take a sabbatical from his job, because as a coach, I'm not tied down geographically. I can work anywhere. We would live off my income, or he would just quit. And for a year, we would travel with the kids. So I thought it was going to look like maybe doing an RV around the country for a few months and then traveling by airplane for several months. And I wasn't concerned about taking the kids out of school. I thought it'd be no problem having them catch up or do the bare minimum while we were traveling.
They're young. So
they're young.
Not like they're in high school.
At the time, my kids were 4 and 7, and now they're 5 and 8. And he bought into it. He thought, this sounds like if we're going to do it, now's the time. And when we were dating, we used to watch The Amazing Race. And I remember saying, oh my God, promise me we're not going to like be living in the suburbs when we're married with kids. Like, I want this to be our lifestyle. And he was like, yeah, totally. And there we were living in the suburbs with our kids. I was driving my cold white SUV, dropping off the kids at school, going to yoga class in the morning, and then meeting up with my friends at Starbucks. Y'all, it was my worst nightmare. And so I wanted to do it before like the opportunity was lost. And it would have been too difficult to pull the kids away with their friends or sports or school or etc. I felt this urgency, and he knew it. He knew it was important to me. And so I started selling all of our things. I wanted to get rid of, so just liquidate, just get rid of it. And we didn't have like a lot of, we're not the kind of people that buy like Ethan Allen furniture and stuff. So I was selling pieces of furniture and getting rid of clothes and going through the kids' books and school clothes and toys and all that stuff. You
were doing the KonMari on the house before you were going anywhere.
Yes. I was like, no joy, get it out, get it out of here. Everything was just going. I had people coming over to my house every day on Craigslist and
picking things up.
Picking up things. And around the springtime, he says, I'm sorry, I'm chickening out. And I was like, no, we don't even have a table. What? And he said, I feel like we've got to save one more year. Next year, I want to save one more year. And I was like, oh, he's so realistic, which is why I love him. He's just so responsible and pragmatic.
He grounds you.
It made sense.
You're the dreamer.
1 more year of savings. Yeah. Then maybe we could do this thing like in style if we had another year of savings. So I would never convince him to do something that I want him to be a hell yes for these plans. I don't want him to be like dragging him along.
Right.
And so of course I backed down, but I always had the dream, like this was going to happen. This is something that I know he wants it. It's going to happen. And once you know it, a couple of weeks later, a job opportunity comes up with his company to be CEO of their Sri Lankan, one of their holdings in Sri Lanka. And a few weeks later, he interviews, we get the job, we're moving to Sri Lanka. I was like, Siri, where is Sri Lanka? Like, it was not on the radar, but I got exactly what I wished for. I wanted to live in a different country. I wanted to have my kids see how the rest of the world lives so they don't grow up to be these entitled brats. I wanted change. I'm looking outside my window at this bustling, loud, dirty, gross city of Colombo. I don't even know if you can see it. There's all these buildings are under construction.
Yep.
These are all have cranes around them. It's like what's happening in the city is just unlike anything I've ever seen, and we're a part of it. And I wanted adventure. I wanted change. I wanted to grow. And
you had that in spades.
Tenfold.
Had that in spades. Not only that, you've survived a terrorist bombing and had to be recalled, like you and the kids had to just evacuate, and I mean, Crazy stuff. This has been a
Crazy.
crazy year.
It's been a crazy year. Yeah. And on Easter Sunday, there were coordinated bombings, probably by ISIS, although they haven't taken responsibility, but some radical Muslim group bombed 3 hotels and 3 churches. And it was right here. We heard them, and we were homebound that week. And then the U.S. evacuated their foreign service families. And so my husband's company said, we're getting you guys out of there too. We were on the next plane. We had 3 hours. We were on a plane to,
and you didn't know how long you were going to be gone for, right? I mean, you had to just grab and go. You had no time.
I thought, we're never coming back when that happened. When we got on the airplane, I thought, we're never coming back here for sure. But things settled down and life goes on, and security measures were heightened, and my husband returned quickly. The kids and I were away for 12 weeks and 1 day. But my husband was just gone for those initial 3 weeks when we were in this holding pattern in Singapore, and he'd been able to spend the rest of the summer here. So I knew that things were safe. And after so much time had passed, I wanted to come back. And yeah, it made me realize I got exactly what I'd asked for. I wasn't specific enough. I wanted adventure. I mean, I wanted to see the human condition. Got that. I wanted my kids to understand. My kids have been through. My daughter was in 3 schools last year because we started school in California. She went to school in Sri Lanka, and then she had to start school back in California when we were evacuated. I mean, and these kids handle it better than
they're resilient. They're so resilient. And you learn something from them, right?
Oh my gosh.
It's like, you think that you're the teacher, but really the kids are teaching you.
I say they are raising us. That's my favorite quote. They're raising us.
Exactly. Yeah, that is so incredible that happened for you. And I'm so glad it worked out that you could go back and reunite with your family and just do that cool stuff. You guys are in such a great location for travel, so you've been able to really explore the area. But talk about manifestation, I think
here's what I've learned about manifestation.
Yeah.
When we told our parents that we wanted to take a break from Pat's career and travel, they thought we were crazy. Right. And then we had to tell them, well, we changed our mind. And then we had to tell them, actually, we're moving to Asia. So what I've learned about manifesting, and because people tell you you're crazy, you start maybe thinking you are.
Questioning yourself a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so what I've decided is that I'm going to dream big, and I'm going to have my vision board, and I'm going to think about these things that I want for my life every single day. And I'm going to plan with my husband when we're on the same page about our family goals and our life goals. You don't need to tell the world. Because they're going to talk you out of it.
Yes.
Because they're confronted with what they aren't making happen in their own lives. Or how
I was going to say, it's like they're confronted with their own limitations, which they then project onto you.
You always have way better words for these things. Yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. They project on you because it makes them feel better.
Right. And also it makes them feel safe, right? Mm-hmm. So many people want to live their whole life in the box and feel safe. And back in the caveman days, that was important because if you weren't safe, if you ventured away from the fire, you were eaten or hunted down by some savage animal. So there was this safety mechanism. Survival ego put in place to keep you within the confines of, safety. Mm-hmm. And now in our society in current times, that translates into don't dare to dream, don't step outside the box. What if you fail? Don't rock the boat. Like, what if you failed? What will people think?
Who do you think you are?
Right? And it's been a process, I know, for you and me to shift that mindset and turn it 180 degrees and stop saying, what if we fail? What will people think? It's like, no, what if we can do this, right? And forget about all the noise and just go for it and be who we came here to be. That's what I love about you so much, is you are just so impactful, empowered. You are so motivational. Like, people, you need to work with Melissa. If you want to get motivated you want to get somewhere, she's your girl. Let me tell you, she is fantastic. And I'm going to put her contact information down below. And I believe your website is melissamccloud.com, right?
.co.
Oh, .co.
Yeah.
Okay, thank goodness you told me, because I added an M, thinking, oh, she must have mistyped that. And
no, .co. MelissaMcCloud.com is an amazing woman, but not me. She's a singer.
okay.
Yeah, and then my free group life coaching, it's thetrophies.co. And any woman's invited to be a trophy. And if you're a married mom, you would love husband rehab. So you can certainly get on the wait list for that when I launch it again.
Is it a rolling thing? Can people join at any time, or do you have certain
Nope.
open?
No, the community with these women, they do so much bonding and opening up together as they go through the course. And so I have different groups starting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
All trophies can join anytime. Husband rehab is different.
Well, you know, she might be gearing up for a relaunch in January. So check back.
Thank you so much,
Check
Wendy.
her website. See how things turn out.
Yeah.
I just have to share this this cool manifestation story, because it's more like synchronicity. And Melissa, what I want to talk about is how we, like, by chance end up meeting each other in Honolulu this past summer.
That was so crazy. We were in the same city at the same time for two totally different
Right. And
events.
I'm in Houston, Texas. She's in, you know,
Sri Lanka.
like, what are the chances we would ever see each other, right, while she's abroad? And I'm on Facebook on vacation posting pictures, and she posts a picture of her hotel, and she's like, you know, some comments about, I won this trip and I'm enjoying, you know, my vacation or whatever, and she's going solo. And I'm like, oh my God, you're 10 minutes away from me.
That's too wild.
10 minutes.
Synchronicity. I loved it.
10 minutes away. Our schedules just synced up. It was just like one of those trips for me where everything was just magic. And we have been talking about this, like, every day it was like, how could it get better than this? And then I find out Melissa's in town. I come down to my hotel. I'm going to put a picture of this insane infinity pool. We got to just sit out there, take a beach walk, spend
That was such a highlight of the vacation for me. Thank you so much. That was wonderful.
I mean,
so
synchronicities are so incredibly powerful. And then to get both of us to just have the stars align and be able to connect in person in Hawaii at this incredible killer hotel was like the best.
So amazing. Yeah. And those things are always happening, but you got to be on the lookout for them. Yeah. That one was definitely so dramatic. I mean, what were the chances?
That was so special.
Always happening. And so you've always got to be looking out for them.
Right. Don't you find that I don't know, I find that as I kind of expand as a person and in my consciousness and grow as a person, and I'm an energy healer, right? So I'm a real believer in frequency and the energy we hold. So as we become better and better versions of ourselves and more aligned with who we are and more empowered, our vibration is rising, rising, rising. And then our reality starts to align with that. So these types of things become the norm.
Right.
They're not the one-off. It's like, oh my gosh, here's Melissa McCloud, like 10 minutes from me in Waikiki, you know?
I know. That's why you need high vibe friends. You need high vibe friends so you can get there and stay there. You got to surround yourself with people like Wendy.
Thank you. But your tribe really is so important, right? So it's not only about doing your own inner work, but it's also about being willing to kind of let the dead weight go.
Yeah.
People who don't resonate with you anymore, because sometimes we outgrow people. We outgrow our friends from 20 years ago because they're choosing to remain the same, and there's nothing wrong with that. But as you change and alchemize who you are and who you want to be and how you show up in the world, those people, there's some attrition that has to happen, and it just makes room for all of your people to kind of line up your tribe finds. But if you're holding on to all these people who are not quite a fit anymore, there's no room for the people that are resonating and holding that vibration to find you. They can't see you because you're down here,
Right.
held down.
Exactly.
So I just love talking to you. I could talk to you all.
You too. Thank you so much for having me on, Wendy.
But I know that you have a life over there and probably a million things to get done. But before we sign off, tell me what has been I'm going to ask you two things. What has been the biggest change you've seen in yourself this year and how that has shown up in your life? That's question number one. And number two, well, you go ahead and answer that question first, and then I'll ask you the second one.
Oh, definitely being okay with being uncomfortable. Like being a foreigner in a developing country, I look different, I speak different, I dress different. And every day I'm in situations that are so uncomfortable. And it was a shock to my psyche in the beginning, like my nervous system was in shock. And then I became okay with it. It's okay to be uncomfortable. And then I'm more willing and able to do uncomfortable things. Like, especially now with this venture in my business, like putting myself out there as basically a relationship coach. I'm saying, you think relationships are a two-way street? You think it takes two to tango? You think relationships are 50-50? You're wrong. People, that's not a popular thought, but I was able to put out there saying that because I believe that, and be okay with people disagreeing with me and attacking me when I'm actually a people pleaser and a nice person. I had to be okay with that. And because I've been so uncomfortable for the last year, I was able to do it. So being uncomfortable.
I'm proud of you.
Okay with being uncomfortable.
Awesome. Okay, so second question is, what's one piece of advice you could give somebody who feels like they can't change?
Hire a coach.
Sign up with Melissa.
If you don't believe you can't change, you don't believe you can't change. But if you have someone that believes in you and believes you can.
That's great. And that's what they're called. That's what we do as coaches, right? We actually hold a mirror up for you to see your greatness. We empower you. That's our role as coaches, is to empower you and get you to see that you have everything it takes to quantum jump in your life. You don't remain stuck, right?
Right. I'm such a big fan of these big ass goals, but really the small things are powerful. It's like, why don't you make a goal that you're going to read a book this month? If someone hasn't been reading for the last couple of years because they're a mom,
busy,
that's a big deal. You stop cooking your favorite recipe because maybe your husband or your kids don't like it. Cook a new recipe every single week. Like, I've become so present to how important these little goals are for my clients. Those do change you. And so if you're of the belief that you can't grow, you can't change, too hard, too difficult, just start small. And it just starts with journaling everything.
You're literally microdosing.
I love that
microdosing.
Yeah. Yes.
And over time,
read a book. I believe
over time, it's like a huge shift. Over time, you're a person. All these tiny little incremental changes end up taking you so far without realizing it, which is so powerful.
Yeah. If you read one new book every single month, you're going to get all these new ideas. They're going to become your beliefs. They're going to affect your behaviors. They're going to become your habits. In a year, you're going to be different. Just from one book that could take you 3 hours to listen to on Audible while you're getting ready in the morning. It's like,
or you're driving. You can listen to something on Audible. I do podcasts driving but Melissa McCloud, you are the
Wendy.
Love you so much.
See you very soon on the socials.
For joining me tonight. To my audience, thank you so much for hanging with me. I love you guys. I love the support you give me, and
great job for listening. You all rock for being here.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. I hope you're kind to yourselves. I love y'all. Have a great night.